what about an else if statement? Well, what's an else if statement? Well, you can actually nest one if or else if statement inside another if or else statement or else if statement, and so on and so forth. Okay, that sounds confusing. It's really not. Sorry for laughing. I'm laughing because this is the kind of example where you read something and you're like, what are they talking about? And then you actually try it and you go, oh, well, why didn't you just say so, right? So let's do an example. But just so you know, what this really means is, you were saying, if this happens, else do that. But the else if can say, if do that, else if, then you do that. All right, and that's the else if. And we're going to take a look. So let me just show you what I mean without getting too meta about it. So let's say we have a password. So we're going to go back to our password here, and we're going to set the password to Sunday. Oops, got to be double quotations. Got to remember what language we're using here. And then we're going to have, let's say, the length of the password. And then we're going to check the length again. So we're going to say if the password.length is greater than 3, then we're going to thank our user. We're going to print ln, thank you for creating a password. All right. And let's just try this. Let's see if this works. This is just a basic if statement. If we run this now, will this work? Well, we see yes. Thank you for creating a password in our output. Okay, so far so good. However, well, what about the else if? All right. So what we could say is, well, okay, if it's greater than 3, thank you for creating a password. All right. But let's say that if we wanted to say that if it's greater than 2, they're just shy of 1. So just add one more character to your password. This is where we can write an else if. We can say else if password.length, oh not password, password.length is greater than 2. And we can say print, and let's make this a little bigger so you can see a little bit better. Print ln. Please add at least one more car to your password, right? So we want like a specific message there, right? And then, if it's anything else, what do we want to say? Else, well, we could just say print ln. The password is too short. Please make a bigger password. Okay, not the best English, but you get the idea. We get the idea. All right, so let's test this out. I'm going to go ahead and run this. And we see thank you for creating a password, and that makes sense. Why does that make sense? Because our password is greater than 3. So it's going to be greater than 3. It's going to print, and then that's the end of that. But what if the password only has 2 characters? Let's try to run it now. We're going to see that the password is too short. Please make a bigger password. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Well, think about it. It has to be greater than 2, but we only have 2 characters. So technically, this makes sense. This one will be skipped because we're greater than 2 and the password is too short. Now, what happens if we add the sun? We're going to add a sun to our password. Let's run it again. And there you go. Please add one more character to your password. And there you go. So now we see this nested-like decision-making structure. Kind of like a ladder to the sun, pun intended.